Welcome to Full Steam Ahead. I'm your co-host, Gary Siegel, and this is my wife, Judy Siegel, and we represent the S in STEAM Fund, the Siegel Trust Enriching Arts and Music. Our mission is to support musicians, artists, and the venues where they share their gift. The Hudson Valley has long been a magnet for incredible musicians, and through Full Steam Ahead, we get to share the stories behind the artists who inspire us. Today's episode is entitled Music More Than Sound, It's Soul, Spirit, and Connection. And today we're thrilled to welcome internationally renowned blues and soul artist Harrison "Slam" Allen. Slam is a true messenger of love whose music uplifts hearts across the globe with roots deep in the family tradition of the Allen brothers. He's journeyed with playing drums in a small-town soul band to touring the world as a bluesman whose performances are as electrifying as they are heartfelt. Blending the spirit of Otis Redding, the guitar mastery of B.B. King, and the stage fire of James Brown, Slam delivers more than music. He delivers joy, unity, and the belief that there is no black, no white, only the blues. From leading the band for the legendary James Cotton to becoming the first full-time blues artist on a major cruise line, Slam has lived a life steeped in rhythm, resilience, and purpose. Today, we'll explore his philosophy, his creative process, and his mission to spread love through the universal language of music. Before we dive in, we'd love for you to join our community. Keywords: visit, like, follow, subscribe, and share. To learn more about STEAM Fund, please visit our STEAM Fund, visit steamfund.org, like our social media pages, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share these episodes with your friends. It's the best way to keep the music and the conversations going. So now, please welcome Slam Allen to Full Steam Ahead.
Hey, pleasure to be here.
We're so excited to have you here today, Slam. We've watched you grow through the years, and I've taught your kids, and it's just really a pleasure to have you here. So let's start with, what do you want the world to know about Harrison "Slam" Allen?
Well, basically, I want people to know that I'm just a real person, I'm like everybody else, I live, I breathe, I love, but what I like to do is I just love to make people happy. That was my mission since I was like 13 years old. I said, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life, just to make people happy.
Awesome. So let's go back to the beginning part of your life then. Yes. With that. How did you, tell us about your family, how did you get to start playing this amazing instrument and give people the gift that you give?
Well, I always tell people that, the night I was born, my dad was out doing a gig. He was a lifelong musician, and, my uncles, my Uncle Buddy, my Uncle Cecil, they all had that band, that Allen Brothers band, and I think it was in my DNA. To come out and be part of this music thing.
You heard he was playing a gig, and you're like, I'm going.
I'm going.
I want to be there.
I want to be there.
And your family, did your family sit around and play music? Was that something that was just part of your upbringing and part of your life?
Yeah, my dad, he was interesting with the music, because my dad, he played guitar, he played drums, he played bass, and for me, I hung around him and my uncles, so it was like second nature to me. Man, my dad became a DJ. He had this collection of records, man, that if I had that collection today, wow, I let it slip away. I wasn't thinking, but I was introduced to all these different type of music, because my dad is from the South, I got an exposure to a different type of sound that wasn't like really present in the North. So it was an education that I learned young that I didn't even realize how it was going to impact me today.
So you grew up here in Sullivan County in Monticello, New York, is that correct?
Born in Monticello, New York.
Monticello, New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you moved to Alabama?
Yes, my dad had went back to Alabama for a while, and I went down, to stay with him. That's where I got to meet, my southern relatives, uncles, cousins, and
How old were you when you moved?
I was probably around, I don't know, around about 11, 12.
11, 12, and
yes.
and that's when you started playing with the Allen Brothers band?
Well, my dad had another band that he played with. He was playing with some Southern guys. And, I was naturally, I was recruited in the band playing guitar.
And that's how you got that accent, because you don't sound like you come from
Yeah,
Sullivan County, New York.
I can't hear it myself. Everybody say I got it.
Y'all.
I got it, y'all.
My mother was from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I know how that accent works.
I got it.
So when did you pick up instruments, and how did you get to start playing music?
Like I said, I was just trying to be like my dad. Yeah, I'm trying to be like my dad and my uncles, and I said I wanted to play, and I can't really remember who gave me my first guitar, but all I remember is that once I touched that guitar, I said, this is it.
And you just could do it. You
Right.
just could play.
Now wait,
That's
you said
amazing.
you started, I think you told us that you started on a string bass, right?
Yes, when I was in high school, I played string bass. Played classical music with
Really?
the bow and all that. Woo. And I said, listen, this is not a way to pick up girls and chicks like this. Wee carrying this big thing around. I said, I got to get the sexy instruments. So I had to go to the guitar.
So there was an ulterior motive.
Yeah,
It wasn't all about
It
just
was
playing
all about
the blues. So here's another important question. People have wanted to know for years. How did you get to be Slam Allen? Like, what is Slam about?
Well, Slam, my birth name is Harrison Allen Jr. And because I have two first names, people will always mix it up. So
Gotta watch out with those guys with two first names.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was thinking I wanted something that was unique, that really no one else had. And when I was younger and a kid, I was infatuated with pro wrestling.
Huh.
So it has kind of a double meaning. And actually, I trained for pro wrestling.
Really?
Yes, I actually trained for pro wrestling, and I did one match. Yes, I started it and finished it in the same day. I retired the same
That
day.
is enough.
It didn't go well?
Yeah, it didn't go well. I said, no, this ain't gonna work here, But the slam, just something that stuck. And a friend of mine, he was just younger than me. He used to have this big stick, and he named his stick Slam. I said, I'm taking that.
I think you had a better shot at picking up chicks as a musician than a pro wrestler. Just saying. That seems like a much more effective way to get that
And
job
more
done.
with a name like Slam instead of Harrison.
Yeah,
Right.
all of that.
And back in the day, I was not a ladies' man. I was
Really?
not at all. My main thing was the guitar. While other kids and stuff were outside playing, I was in there playing on the guitar.
And did your brothers, sisters, did you have siblings that did that too? Were you all kind of musical, or you were the one?
I have two older sisters and one younger brother. None of them play an instrument.
Really? You
At
got
all.
it all.
No,
That's
got it
interesting.
all. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. So we know that your journey and your career, that you toured with the John Cotton Band. That must have been incredible. I mean, the James Cotton Band. Sorry, James Cotton Band, and that must have been incredible. Can you tell us who James Cotton was, and what are some of your standout memories from that time?
Well, James Cotton, man, was one of the most entertaining people. In blues, rock, or whatever. He was so unique in his performance and the way he played harmonica. He used to play with Muddy Waters. He played with Muddy Waters for about 13 years before he stepped off, and became kind of a legend himself. And how I got to play with James Cotton, I had moved to Chicago. And I really didn't know anybody. I said, I want to go somewhere where nobody, knows me and see if I can make it.
Right.
I went to Chicago and I was welcomed with open arms. Man, they welcomed me with open arms. And James Cotton happened to come to town and needed a band. So one person who knew me knew another person, whatever, and I got the call to come to a rehearsal. And I went there to the rehearsal, and I was only supposed to play with him for a weekend, and I ended up staying with him for almost 10 years.
10 years.
Wow. And you toured, or did you stay in Chicago?
Toured. Our first gig was in Canada, as I remember.
How old were you?
I was older, and I was probably around about, I don't know, 25, somewhere, somewhere in there. And it was an experience for me, just to be with somebody of that caliber. Going and people telling me, man, we followed James Cotton for 30 years. And, to have you here playing with him, man, is a great honor, for me to be with somebody of legendary status.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. From doing that, and good stuff, not so good stuff. Mm-hmm. Stories of doing shows and the promoter leaving with all the money.
Okay.
It's the game. It's the game. You never know what's going to happen, and but I learned a whole lot of things by how to be professional. Mm-hmm. And James really, taught me, a lot. He really, loved me, man. And I had a lot of love for him too. And all I wanted to do was just be there to make him sound good.
Right. Now he passed. Around 2017?
Yes, he passed. Yeah.
So you did that, and you learned sort of the business, and you toured, and you got that thing, and then you came back to Sullivan County. Is that and sort of settled down, quote unquote, a little bit? Is that?
So when was that?
Basically, when I came back to Sullivan County, it was probably around I can't remember, but I came back.
Probably late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there.
No, it was much later.
It was
than
later.
That. Yeah, it was probably in the 2000s. When I.
So about 20, 25 years ago, maybe.
Because I had went into the cruise industry.
So that was my next question:
Yeah.
is how did you? That I was going to leap to that, but that was a nice segue.
Yeah, nice segue.
How did you get to there, and what's that like?
How I actually started in the cruise industry. I was playing a club in New York City, and one of the managers there said one day there's a agent that was looking for a band because the band had canceled out, and he said, "Have you ever worked in the cruise industry?" I said, "No." I said, I'll try it. It was simple as that. It's easy as that. So I got the gig, and I worked with a cruise line for about 4 years. From 2010 to 2014, and when I got to 2014, I said, "That's it," because I was working like sometimes 6 months at a time. And I said, that's enough.
And what's that like? Because, when you work locally, or even New York locally or Chicago, you get a following, and you have people that you recognize in the audience. I know you're really good at communicating with them. And there's a really nice vibe because you're ours, wherever ours is. But what's it like on a cruise line when there are new audiences all the time? Mostly they don't know you. Sometimes every once in a while we'll hear somebody say, "Oh my gosh, I'm on a cruise ship and Slam Allen is here," but mostly they don't know you. What's it like?
Well, in that environment, that's where I honed my skills. Because, if you have people, on the ship for a week, you have to keep them entertained. So you can't do the same thing over and over again. And man, I just became real popular because I just was able to be myself. Every show was a different show. Every show I made different, and it gave me a chance to, just interact with people, and to, be able to, tell little jokes and just, be funny and make people feel comfortable. And I became very, very popular.
So when you went on these cruises, did they provide musicians for you to play with, or did you bring a band with you, or how did that all work?
No, they allowed me to pick my own band. Mm-hmm. Bring on the people that I felt would be, great for me.
So now you had an uncle who played saxophone. Did he go on the cruises with you? No.
No, never had any family members go on with me. Because like I said, sometimes I started doing 6 months.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's a long time to spend with your family,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, and they a lot of them like, I ain't going on there for those 6 months. And then I broke it down to 4 months at a time. And they're like, no, I ain't doing that.
But you were the first full-time blues artist on a cruise line, right?
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's one of the first to do it. Yeah.
Well, you talked about you making people happy, and we also in the intro I mentioned your mantra that there's no black, there's no white, only the blues. That's very powerful. I mean, how does that guide your music and how you interact with the audiences?
All my whole life, man, one thing I never looked at was color. The only color I ever was concerned about was green. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, where the agents took all the money.
Yeah, you learned that early.
Yeah, I care nothing about money, but everything around you dictates it, so you got to have it.
No tie-dye, no paisley.
No, I just like I said, when I was younger, I just always had this thing that I just wanted to entertain people. I don't care what color you are, where you're from, how much money in your pocket. As long as you happy, I'm happy.
Well, and what I would say is that we've seen you many times perform, and every time we see you, I mean, you're the real deal. You are the full package. You entertain, you joke, you get the audience. They're impacted. They are engaged. And I know that you have influences. We talked about B.B. King. We talked about George Benson. Probably Stevie Ray Vaughan. Buddy Guy. I mean, talk about your influences and how they've influenced the way you play, maybe back then, and how it's helped you develop into your own style.
One thing I did was I always kept an open ear. I never really settled for just one type of music. Of course, from my background and stuff like that, and people that I was brought up with, blues, soul, R&B, funk, rock and roll. I even listened to like heavy metal, grunge, anything that appealed to my ear, I listened to it. And there were so many artists that I really enjoyed. And some people ask me, well, who's your favorite artist? I said, I can't say that. I can't tell you who my exact favorite is, because each one of these artists has something that is special about them. There's people that I gravitate more to, something like people like George Benson, B.B. King, stuff like that. But, I learned a lot from a lot of different artists, in different genres of music, you could catch me sometime listening to Frank Sinatra, because he was Frank.
Absolutely, and his bands were amazing.
His bands, and I love the Rat Pack, because they were just a group of talented entertainers.
But I'm thinking of you growing up in Monticello, New York, which, so we're 100 miles from Manhattan. There's all sorts of a musical influence, but we have not, other than the Woodstock Music Festival, which makes puts us on the map, we're not really consistently known for our great music, for producing the best musicians and the most amazing connection to music. So did you struggle with that? Did you find resources here, or did you go elsewhere? How did that affect your life?
Some of the greatest resources ever here was the hotels. Anybody that was anybody, came through here. And I used to work at the hotels, the Pines and the Concord and all these hotels, and I used to see these talented,
amazing
musicians, entertainers. One gentleman that stood out to me, man, that brought me to tears, actually was a man by the name of George Kirby. I mean, this guy, he could do impressions. I mean, he was the man of 1,000 voices. You know what I mean? So for me, entertainment meant, comedy, music, whatever made people happy, and I was able to see all this.
So for the Borscht, one more, I'll let you ask your question, sorry, but for the Borscht, for the people listening, the Catskill hotels, it was a Borscht Belt era, and every night they had entertainment, and every night they had dancing with live music before a show. They had comedians, they had singers, they had dancers, and then afterwards they had shows. So that's a segue for you.
Well, I was going to ask you if you ever played with Erskine Hawkins. Who was at the Concord? Because he was a big blues guy, wasn't he?
I've seen him many times.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play with him, but I've seen him many times perform and stuff.
As did I.
Man, it was a heck of an experience.
Yeah, he was great.
Yes.
And all those influential people and musicians that we mentioned earlier, did you ever get to see any of them in person live? Or,
yeah. Yes.
What was that like for you?
I'm telling you, it was something that I didn't know, the education that I was getting, until now.
Right.
Now, when I look back and I really realize that, wow, these people who made the music great.
And who specifically did you see?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I basically I'm gonna tell you some of the people that I actually was on stage with. People like in the blues, like Pine Top Perkins, Hubert Sumlin. My brain right now escapes me, but those are just a few. Just traveling with the James Cotton Blues Band. I got to stand face to face with Bonnie Raitt.
Nice.
One of the most beautiful people that you could ever meet.
We actually have a friend who's from our hometown that did the sound for Bonnie Raitt for many, many years when she was on tour.
What a beautiful person,
back then.
So we have seen you, we mentioned before, in so many different ways. We've seen you in the downtown barn, in Liberty, in the small little venue. We've seen you in large venues. Never saw you on a cruise ship, but have seen you at weddings.
Yes.
Like, is there a favorite, and how do you feel the experience is interacting with your audience differently in those? And I would just like to say the wedding was amazing. It was a great opportunity. Our friend's daughter got married, and it was so much fun.
Yes, like I say, I just love to be anywhere where anybody wants to be entertained. Just put me in there and let me do what I do, and it's my job to make people happy.
You do it well.
What's your favorite song to play?
That's a loaded question right there. There's so many doggone songs, man, that is just, every song put you in the mood, and every song put you in the feeling, you know what I mean? And I got so many of them, man, that I can't name a favorite, but I just say I got a whole collection of stuff that makes me feel good.
I remember a staple of the performances that I've seen you was Purple Rain.
Yes.
That you do an amazing rendition of that, and you go around the audience with your guitar, and you'll play with the cordless guitar,
right?
And people just are smiling and
everybody should see that. So
entertained, and it's just a great experience to our viewers, our audience here. If you ever get the chance to go see Slam, it's amazing. It
is truly a joyful soul experience to get to see you in person, because you connect with the audience, and do you realize you're connecting that way when you're out there? Can you feel that energy coming back at you?
Yeah, I can feel it, because I'm an empath. As soon as I walk in the room, I can feel the energy of the people, and I know I just go like almost on automatic pilot. I don't know what to play. And a lot of songs that I play them because they are crowd pleasers. And I said, I'm not going to come out here and play for me.
Right.
I'm coming out here and play for you.
Right.
So that's what created my song list, and that's what created.
That's what makes you endearing and or people loving you, because a lot of musicians will play what they want to play and not necessarily what the audience wants to hear, and that's a huge important point, to make the audience happy as is your goal, So your music has inspired audiences worldwide. What's the most rewarding part of seeing someone moved by your music?
Well, I've played shows, and this is recent where people have come up to me and said, "Slam, you made me feel so good. You made me feel so good. I'm in stage 4 cancer, and you just made me just feel so doggone good." And it was so I wanted to cry sometimes. When they would say this was for them to say that you was like a gift for me. I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, or whatever, but this right
That's
here
awesome.
just made me feel so good. And I've seen people in the audience cry.
Well, we talk so much about the healing powers of music.
Yes.
We've talked much about our son who had an accident back in 2015, and music. The power of music is what
Yes.
really helped him to heal,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just another example. It's
So here's another thought. How do you stay current? How do you stay relevant and not just get dry? Like you say on the cruise ship, it's important to do something different all the time. How do you practice and grow while at the same time performing all the time?
Well, you have to be in touch with what's going on, in the world. You can't close yourself off. I may not be technically sound, with stuff, but one thing I keep current is with people. We are all affected every day by the news and everything like that. So, working in the environment that I work in, I'm always getting people coming to me from all over the world. And I learn from that. And I learn from almost everyone that comes, in my presence. I always try to learn. I'm a studier of people. And some people are like, "Ooh, I don't want you around me anymore."
I need that energy.
Yeah, I need that. I don't want that
I
around.
understand that. So, well, what? I think that we skipped over something that's important. So you said you stopped playing on cruises in 2014. Now you're playing on cruises. So there's this big gap. What happened there?
Well, I had said once I worked for this one cruise line, I said I don't want to do this no more. I said that was it. So I basically got off and I started, playing on land and stuff like that and doing, other things too. I've taken other jobs and things like that I wanted to find myself. I wanted to be part of, the world and whatever. So I went on a journey. I went on a journey just to, try to stay relevant and try to not lose myself. In life we have ups and downs, and I always try to keep it on the ups. But what got me back into it, we know when COVID came around, months later, I basically had said, that's it, I'm not doing music anymore. I'm giving it up.
Wow.
And I said, this is the time for me to bow out gracefully. I always play guitar. I always love music, but this is the time for me not to perform again. So basically what I did was I started a medical courier business. And I didn't know that it was such a big thing. But even,
Up here in Sullivan County,
Yes.
New York, right here?
Yes, but, I didn't deliver medicine here. But, there's facilities and stuff all over the place where people need meds all the time. No matter what's going on, they need their meds. And there's these huge medical or drug. I'm trying to say the right words, but they distribute drugs, to people, and it's like almost like $1 billion industry. And you go to this big pharmacy and you pick up the meds and you distribute them.
Wow.
So one day, I went to pick up my meds.
Had a real job.
I had a real job. My business was doing great. It was growing and everything. And I get a phone call. Now, I get a phone call from a man who used to work for this one cruise line, and he moved to another cruise line. And I hadn't spoken to him in almost 10 years, and he called me. He said, would you like to come out and try this again. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. It was during COVID, I was like, nah, I don't want to do that.
I don't need to be in the middle of an ocean, in the middle of COVID. No.
And I said, since you called me, because I had the same phone number for 25 years, I said, since you called me, I'm going to try it. So,
wow.
Yeah, so I gave away.
He twisted your arm like
business.
This much, and there it was.
Like, how about now?
Yeah, I was nervous because I hadn't really played that much.
I was going to ask, how much did you? How did you actually just put your instrument down for those years?
Yeah, I was. Like I say, I was still playing my instrument at home and stuff like that, but I had done no live performances and stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? The Spirit spoke to me and said, you know what? Do it.
Yeah. So you had to get your chops back, huh?
Yeah, my chops. Always try to keep my chops up, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but it was a little.
They were rusty.
Yeah, they're a little rusty,
That's why you do those chromatic exercises.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Wow.
I stepped out on that ship, and man, it was a huge success.
And you were happy, like you're making people happy, but it's comfortable for you, and it's. Has it been amazing?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's become huge for me. Yeah. When I got on the ship, I caught COVID on the ship.
On the ship. Well, that would stink because they put you you have to stay in your room. You can't get out of your room. Right, you're totally quarantined.
2 weeks I was quarantined.
Wow.
In a cabin, with a nice.
By yourself?
Yep.
For they deliver meals.
Deliver meals.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ugly. Although, to be fair, you had a balcony, right? I heard you say that earlier. There was a balcony.
It was one of the best vacations I had.
Yeah. As awful as that was, there is a silver lining there a little bit. But you did that, and how many do you go on a year?
Well, I work on for a month, and I'm off a month, and I work a month. They book me like a year in advance.
Wow.
And you're still playing here in
when I come
in
home,
some of the venues that are in the Hudson Valley and elsewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's great. So if you were to give one piece of advice to an aspiring musician trying to make a career out of performing, what would you say?
Quit.
No. That's not the right answer.
I say, listen, be true to the music, be true to yourself. Remember when you're stepping out there, you're an entertainer. You're not just somebody standing up on stage with a piece of wood in your hand, or whatever. You're out there and you entertain people. Be entertaining. If you don't know how to do that, learn. Learn how to do it.
And you have to love it, right? Because
yes.
It's not to say you can't make money, you can't make a living, but it's a challenging lifestyle, right? It's certainly not a secure 9-to-5 lifestyle where you get a paycheck.
Whether you're playing local or whether you're a superstar, you're always going to have problems.
Well,
in anything,
the way I look at music, it's like golf. Anybody can play.
Right.
Some people play just for the joy of playing. Mm-hmm. Other people do it professionally, and there's some in between. But everybody can be at their own level, and everybody can improve.
Right.
And that's the beauty of music. And the other beauty of music, is the universal language. Exactly. And you being on these cruise ships, or you come home, or you go to Alabama, or you're in Chicago, anywhere you go, there are people that speak that language, and it's such a gift to be able to share that and that experience with musicians all around the world. I would think, right?
It's a beautiful thing.
It's amazing to me as a non-musician to watch and listen to Gary. You walk into a room and somebody's playing, and you can just play. He'll pick up his trumpet, or he'll have a keyboard there. You got your guitar, and just sit down with somebody you've never met before. Just play music, and that's an amazing, to somebody who doesn't do it. That's just so beautiful. It's so inspiring to watch that.
Universal language.
The universal language. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So the question I'd have before we sort of wander towards the end of this is, what do you want people to remember about you? Slam Allen. What's a legacy you want to leave behind?
That I was always true, to music, to people. I always try to be true to myself. They say with the blues, the 3 chords and the truth. And I said, I always just wanted to give people the truth. And I tell people, if you ain't like me back in 1995, you ain't gonna like me today, because I'm about the same person.
But
It is.
if I had to come up with a word, I would just say cool. You are true and cool, and I just think you exude a beautiful humanity, and it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to actually know you, to sit and talk to you. I feel really lucky for that.
And I don't know how you wouldn't make people happy with that smile.
Seriously,
you have an amazing smile and just
it's beautiful.
An amazing
I bought this
aura.
one here. I ain't finished yet. I've still got a little more to go. But I bought half of this.
Okay. However you got there, you got there.
Yeah.
So Slam, where can our viewers, our listeners, where can they find your music?
Well, I'm online. Like you could. My whole library of music is on YouTube. You go on YouTube. You can go to my website, slamallen.com. Just Google my name, Slam Allen. I got tons of videos of me playing all over the place. So I'm not a hard person to find.
Well, that's great. Go ahead.
Would you do us the honor of just playing a little bit of something as we fade out to the credits here?
Well, we want to finish up here, I think, and then do that.
Okay, we could wait. You don't get to do that yet, Slam.
But we do want to thank you for being here, and we it's just great to have this conversation with you and be able to share your stories and a little bit more in depth about who you are. And I think there are a lot of people that would love to know that, and I hope that there will be a lot of viewers and listeners that tune in and learn more about you.
And I want to say, people, if you want to know me, come on out. Come on out and see me wherever I am. A lot of people have heard of me, but I actually talked to some people who were talking about Slam Allen and didn't even know it was me. I tell people, if you want to know about me, just come on out, feel it. That's where I'm best.
Yep.
Absolutely true. You
So
are
if you
magic.
Give me some background as I close this out. Just once again, for our listeners and viewers, we encourage you to check out Slam's music at slamallen.com, where you can access videos, photos, upcoming shows, bookings, and contact information. To learn more about the STEAM Fund, visit, follow, subscribe, and share. Please visit our website at steamfund.org, like our social media pages, follow us on Instagram, subscribe. That's really important. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and share these episodes with your friends. It's the best way to keep the music and the conversations going. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you'll join us on future episodes of Full Steam Ahead. Today's
Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's the universal language of music.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, Lana.
My absolute pleasure. I appreciate both of y'all. Thank you.
We love you.
Me too. I love you too. Thank you.